Hello, Jaime from Inky and Scrappy, sharing with you today Santa's magic. Welcome back to all of my subscribers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing as it alerts you to when new videos go up on the channel and it helps the channel grow. That was the color guide. It will be found on my blog if you are interested for all of the images that I colored today. I followed that color pattern. I started with my card base on this one. I wanted that blue check, but I didn't want any of the white showing. So my card base is not your typical A2 sized card base. It's a little off size, and that's fine. I'm fine with it. It'll still fit in an A2 size envelope. To start, I'm making a night sky. I'm bringing in some Distress Oxide in Faded Jean and Chipped Sapphire. This has been my favorite color combo for this. I think it just goes with my pattern paper, and so that's why I've been reaching for these ones this week, and it's why that Distress Oxide brush is super saturated with dark blue ink currently. It looks way better in real life when you're ink blending than it does on camera. It blows me away. When people say that, I never really think much about it, but when I was watching the replay on this one, I'm like, holy smokes, it looks really blotchy on camera, but in real life it actually is really a smooth blend. It looks gorgeous. I did bring in a little bit of that speckled egg there in the center just to lighten it up a little bit because I wanted a little bit of a highlight there. I decided I needed to use this die from last year's, I think it was Simon Says Stamps Diecember. This is the Tim Holtz one. It was limited edition, so I'm sure it's no longer available. To get this look without that die, if you don't have it, there are some other ones out there that are similar. There's also multiple different stamps and stencils that you could use to get a very similar look. I am coming in with some of that Brutus Monroe Frost Aqua Pigments. So it's got that mica flake in it. This one was between blue and purple. It was what was left on that block. I really need to clean my crafty space. It's getting bad up in here. So I know that I need to put something behind it to make those stars pop. And so I was looking at doing the white that I'm using for my snow hills because it's a metallic white. But I had this holographic scrap sitting on my desk from Crescent Creations that I've, that card's coming. The 16th, if you're wondering, November 16th, it will hit my channel, Crescent Creations channel at midnight. I think mine doesn't go live for a bunch of hours after that. But this was one of the scraps, and if you're like me, that paper is expensive, so you hoard it like no tomorrow. And so I like to use every little itty bitty scrap because I know I can die cut small little things with it and use it that way. But this was just perfect, like chef's kiss perfect. It was like the missing ingredient to that star trail. It was, yeah. You will see me wiggle it in the light constantly because it's just so pretty. I know, I'm a dork. It's okay. I'm good with it. See, it's just pretty with that mica in the speckly sky in the background. This card actually has a lot of glimmer and glitz to it. I am bringing in that leftover Fun Foam adhesive. I think this is almost the last of it, except for my leftover scrap pieces from class. So, we're getting to the end of that one. It actually has come in handy. I'm going to have to do that more frequently. So when I say this one was like off size, it was like off size. But I had cut my hills using Lawn Fawn's stitched border dies. And to get the look without the stitch, I just used the opposite side of that hill. So if it's one that you think you need all new dies for, as long as you can get a hill look from it that works for your card, you don't need to get a different one. So you can get both the stitched and non-stitched look with the same border dies. Yeah, isn't it pretty? See, I told you I'm a dork. I'm going to do that constantly because it was just, it was so pretty. I'm going to start building my scene here. So I'm going to tuck in that tree. The tree comes from Cheery Christmas from Lawn Fawn. And Santa and his bag comes from Ho Ho Holidays from Lawn Fawn. And then the 3 presents come from Cheery Christmas. I think the single present comes from Ho Ho Holidays. And the milk and the cookies come from Ho Ho Holidays. I think. Don't quote me on all of that, but I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to add the gifts behind, kind of giving them a little bit of that layered look without actually adding any layer to my card. So the only thing that's popped up on this one is my full background panel on my card base. The hills are made with my metallic cardstock from envelopes.com. So I want to say it's the Gin Fizz metallic. I don't know if it's in stock anymore. I got it on super clearance when I did get it. So I got like a 50 pack of 8.5 by 11s. But it's 115 pounds. So it's extra. It's like, or 105 pounds. It's an extra thick cardstock. And so it gives enough like depth and dimension when you just layer it on top of each other. That's why I did add the little scraps underneath there. So it was flush. It's not going to bend when I mail it. So I'm just figuring out what I'm going to put for my card base. So I just pulled a pre-done card base from my Hobby Lobby set. And yes, when I said it's like a little bit off size-wise, it's not quite 5 1/4. It's just a little off. I just cut down my panel to cut off all the white from that gingham check. And yes, I cut my card base a little bit too much. You know, it's what I get for not measuring things out. That's why they make paper trimmers. So I have most of it done. I don't like the milk and cookies as an addition onto the bottom. I was kind of thinking I would, but I didn't. So I'm just going to throw them on the inside of my card because A, they color match the objects I had already colored, and I really don't need more pre-done images in my boxes of pre-done colored images. So I need a sentiment. I realized that on top is probably my best spot for my sentiment. And so I went and found the smallest Merry Christmas die that I knew that I had. So this one I think was a freebie from scrapbook.com last year around Christmas time. And so I'm going to use that one. I did use a bright red cardstock to coordinate with the red in Santa. I really think it makes that Merry Christmas pop, and it kind of brings that whole card together from the top and the bottom. So you have 3 strong pops of red there. And I did remember the tittle. It was thankfully stuck in the little die yet because I'd have lost it. It would have had to get recut. With all that sparkle going on, I decided it didn't need anything else. No ornaments on the tree, nothing. I decided it was done right there. It'll be a super easy one to mail. I won't have to worry about making sure there isn't anything chunky sticking out. And I did finish the inside with "and a Happy New Year." So I hope you have a great week. Hopefully you are staying warm if you are somewhere cold, and have a great week. Keep getting inky.